GFL Environmental has agreed to sell its environmental services business to two U.S. investment funds, Apollo Global Management and BC Partners. The sale is expected to result in $6.2 billion Canadian in cash proceeds for GFL. We're going to talk about the sector with Lenka Martinek, and I will tell you more about the deal. This has been a deal that's been rumored and reported on for quite some time. The company says that there was an active auction process, a competitive auction process. It says the $8 billion in enterprise value, that would include debt being taken on by the buyers, debt belonging to this business, was more than it expected to get from the sale. And the business being sold again is the environmental services business. It specializes in liquid waste handling and soil remediation. That's what it does. It does not affect what you might call the retail garbage disposal business. Many of us, at least in this part of the country and in other parts of the country as well, are familiar with those lime green trucks that come by and pick up our garbage every week. That business remains with GFL. It's the environmental services business that's being sold. Proceeds to GFL, $6.2 billion Canadian. The buyers, two U.S. investment funds. And GFL, interestingly, retains a stake in this business. A stake of $1.7 billion will be rolled into the business. So GFL remains a part owner of this business. Lenka, you like this sector, the waste disposal sector. Why so?
Yeah, so, well, just right off the bat, from a macro sort of perspective, the waste management sector is something that is not particularly rate sensitive and is fairly recession proof. So when you think about, obviously, you mentioned, your residential garbage pickup. This is going to happen whether in a strong economic environment or a poor one. So just for those characteristics alone, going into 2025, we do think that interest rates will stay higher than is presently expected, and so it's a business that is fairly, interest rate sensitive as well. The market, the waste management industry in North America, there are four companies that take up about 70% of the entire market. So GFL being one of them. I think it's about 10% of the overall waste management business. And then the other companies, also large companies that we're mostly, that we're aware of, WM Waste Management, for example, et cetera. And so really, we think it's a pretty stable business generally. If we think about GFL, I think you hit the main points already. They're selling off the soil remediation and liquid waste, and keeping the solid waste management, which is also the area that we think from an economic perspective is the part that is probably the most interesting for the next couple of years. If we don't get that recession, in the next year or so in the U.S., well, then this is a part of, as the economy grows, well, then you do have more garbage. So there is kind of a bit of an upside to this business, more perhaps than the two areas that we sold. Of those four businesses that I talked about, the four North American companies, we actually liked GFL quite a bit, apart from this idea that they had a bit of a debt burden to deal with. So post-sale, actually, we're quite excited about GFL, and it's something that we would most certainly consider within this space.
Interesting. It's also a fairly fragmented sector, correct? One way GFL grew was by acquisitions in a big way. There are smaller operators around North America, I guess largely in the United States, that are often purchased by these larger companies, correct?
Yeah, well, there has been quite a bit of consolidation. I would say that, so now we have these four majors that take about, I think it's about 70% of the overall market. And then the rest, the 30% that's left is fragmented, So I actually think that probably a lot of those acquisitions are now behind us. And there isn't much more consolidation that will occur in the future. So now it's a question of these really quite large, stable businesses that are quite mature, actually.
How much progress over the years has been made on recycling? How effective are we becoming, and are these companies becoming in diverting material from landfill sites through recycling?
So I would say that one of the big pushes in the right direction has been the fact that China will no longer, has no longer, the last couple of years, will no longer accept as much of our, cardboard and certain waste that we were very good at basically exporting things that we didn't want on our soil. And that has forced a lot of changes in North America in terms of dealing with our own garbage and finding better recycling programs. So we have an awful lot of progress still to be made. Reduction at the source is a huge one. Things like concepts like the circular economy that are slow to get off in North America, basically because we don't put high enough value on secondary uses of material. But it's something that I think over the next, this is a perfect example of a sector or an area that, irrespective of who sits in government, as certain costs go up, it will a sector that will have to become more effective and efficient. So lots of progress still ahead of us, but we're quite hopeful that that's the direction that we will go as certain costs go up over time.